With us is Delegate Terry Kilgore, 1st District Delegate for Lee, Wise, and Scott in the City of Norton. This is a special segment of VACo on the Go, talking about the General Assembly issues. Delegate Kilgore, thank you for being here with us.
Oh, great to be with you, Dean.
I know that you've been a big supporter of counties, and been familiar with our top 3 issues: aid to localities, education funding, and transportation funding. Tell us a little bit about what these issues are, how you're playing into these, and what's left after crossover.
Well, we'll do it. Dean, with the aid to localities issue, that's something that we hear a lot from the counties I represent, being more rural areas. Anything that we can do to help them really means a lot to the bottom line, and we knew that was important, and been talking to the administration over the past year to try to get some more dollars back to localities, and this year we were able to convince the governor that was the right way to go, and we're happy with his decision, and I'm glad to see that the Appropriations Committee and Senate Finance Committee have both kept it in the budget. So that
we're very happy with that.
Yeah, I know you are. That should help us along the way. So, and that should ease some of the pain. You keep hearing a lot when you go in front of boards of supervisors meetings or school boards about passing the buck back down to them or giving them unfunded band-aids, and I hope this helps. The other issue you were speaking about is would be education funding. That's a big part of our budget here in the Commonwealth, Dean, as you know, and we're trying to look at it from a standpoint that we know that more students. We got to with the student population growing in some areas, and in my area just barely staying the same. There's different needs there, so we're trying to make sure that we keep those low class sizes, make sure that we keep our student-teacher ratio where it's supposed to be. But also important to us this year was to give a raise to our public school teachers and our support staff. So I think you saw in both budgets yesterday that both addressed the issue. So we're excited about that.
A little bit about transportation funding. I know it's the House has got some language in, and kind of following what the governor's transportation plan is, whereas the Senate has no plan as of right now.
Right, and I think what you're going to see at the end of the day, Dean, is something a little bit different, or maybe a lot different than what we actually voted on, what the House actually voted on last week, because of the fact that we didn't get a bill out of the Senate. There's no bill. So we're sending a bill over there, and what we're going to see is substitute laid on top of the bill, hopefully, if we can get one out, and sent back to us. And then that starts the whole conferee process. And hopefully, one thing that was very important to us through this process is rural maintenance, to make sure that the formula wasn't changed for our rural areas, which it hasn't been. And we also had a big fight on the floor, as you know, about the composition of the Commonwealth Transportation Board. We barely won that fight, and there's going to come a time when the rural and suburban legislators are not going to win that fight. So we're just trying to make sure that we protect the rural and the suburban areas during this session.
Well, now that we're halfway through the session, a little over halfway.
A little bit over halfway.
We know that this has been a very raucous session with uranium and with other issues, redistricting.
Yeah.
What's left that we need to be looking out for and watching to see how the General Assembly?
Well, I mean, I think what you're going to see, I think you're going to see Medicaid expansion and transportation. I think those are going to be your 2 big issues coming forward. And with Medicaid expansion, I'm all for expanding as long as Virginia gets to do its reforms. We've got to reform, and you being a former Deputy Secretary of Health and Human Services, you know that there's a lot of areas that we could reform in Medicaid. Emergency room visits, drug, the prescription drug area, just doctor visits, all kinds of things that we could reform, health and wellness, obesity, just different things that we could do to make Virginia's dollar go father, and the fact that we want to make sure, you know, when you got a federal government spending trillions of dollars that it doesn't have, you got to make sure has a representing the state and localities that money's going to be there. Otherwise, we're going to be left holding the bag. So if we can do it and have a out clause where if they stop funding, we're out, and able to do reforms, then that may be a way forward. And I'll tell you, it's a lot more money from Virginia than the transportation plan, the Medicaid expansion. So it's very important. And then of course transportation, what the bill actually does in the end. Do you have enough votes? Do you have 51 votes? It takes 51 votes and 21 votes, and the lieutenant governor can't vote in the Senate. So it's going to come down to maybe white knuckle time at the end of the session.
Well, we've still got some issues left, and I know that you specifically have some regional issues that you've been working on, and where are those regional issues, and what are those regional issues?
Well, I mean, we had some funding. We've got some funding issues with regional, some things that we've put in and trying to work on. One thing that we're able to do for Scott County is make sure that we got the Wilderness Road Interpretive Center, that we're going to build it and then turn it over to the state at a later time, and everybody's bought into that, so we're excited about that. It'll be at Duffield, and also we'll convey to the state 153 acres there at Cane Gap where Daniel Boone went through. But as far as other issues, you know, you know, how this pay increase for teachers and you know, how it affects the localities, we've got to watch that, and anything that we can do to cut down on that match. That means a lot of money. You know, a lot of people say, well, that's not a lot of money, but it's a lot of money to rural areas.
Well, I was looking at in the House budget and noticed that there were some unique initiatives just targeting Lee, Scott, and Wise County, the city of Norton. There was St. Mary's Healthway.
Right.
There was also it seemed like there was some additional dollars for dental care.
Oh, yeah.
And for some other health care issues.
Oh yeah, and that's very important. You know, where we have the RAM, which you've been down to, the RAM medical and dental services, where all the folks come in that whole weekend. We really need to address that issue and have more medical, more dental care for our area, and with folks like St. Mary's Health Wagon, with and you know, folks that are able to supply the free dental, you know, free dental services. It's very important because dental. A lot of people don't realize that dental services have a lot to do with how healthy you are. But you know, we have a lot of other issues in Southwest Virginia on you know, just on our coal mining, you know, getting the permits and things. You know, we've really been hit hard by the administration in Washington on getting those permits, and it's costing us jobs in the whole Central Appalachian area, and we really have to turn that around, and also, you know, a little bit to blame is lower natural gas prices and things of that nature. But if we could turn that around, it could really help. But if we don't turn it around, we have mines closing, people not making $70,000–$80,000 a year. That's going to really hurt the economy in those coal counties in Southwest Virginia.
Well, Delegate Kilgore, I wish you luck on the rest of the session. Thank you for being with us. And being a VACo supporter, county supporter, I know you've been very instrumental in making sure that the $45 million in aid to localities stays in the budget, and we thank you for that.
Well, Dean, let me just say how great a job y'all do, and I always see your guys around, and ladies, and working the halls of the General Assembly, and that means a lot when you develop those friendships with legislators, and you're able to get in the door to see them and talk about your needs from VACo. And you know, and I know you represent the whole state, and you have a vast area that you represent with many different needs and many different desires, and you're able to walk that tightrope like we are. So we appreciate that.
Thank you for being with us for the special segment on VACo on the Go.
Thank you.